Hi, this video is about surds. What is a surd? How to add, subtract, multiply, and divide surds.
Surds are square roots of numbers which do not simplify into whole or rational numbers. They have infinite number of non-recurring decimals. Therefore, surds are irrational numbers. You can watch my video on rational and irrational numbers made easy from my YouTube channel first. So examples of surds, e.g. square root of 2 is a surd because if you enter the number on your calculator, the square root of 2 is equal to 1,414,213 and so on. The numbers are non-recurring and also they do not end, so it is a surd. And if we say square root of 4, it is equal to 2. This is not a surd since the square root of 4 is an exact number. If you punch on your calculator, the square root of 13 is equal to 3,605,5512 and so on. So since it is not an exact number, this is a surd. And if you punch the square root of 16 is equal to 4, this is not a surd since it is an exact number. So we said surds are numbers the square roots of which do not simplify. And now let us proceed to adding and addition and subtraction of surds. You can only add or subtract surds of numbers with the same numbers in the square root. So for example, if we say 2 root 2 plus 3 root 2, this is equal to 5 root 2 because the numbers in the square roots are the same. But if we say 2 root 3 plus 3 root 2, this is equal to 2 root 3 plus 3 root 2. You cannot further simplify this because the numbers in the square roots are different. So this is left like this. Also for subtraction, if we say 5 root 2 minus 3 root 2, this is equal to 2 root 2. But if we say 5 root 2 minus 3 root 3, this is equal to 5 root 2 minus 3 root 3. This cannot be further simplified because the numbers under the square root signs are not the same, they are different. Now let us proceed to multiplication of surds. Multiplication. Given x, y, and z, we say that the square root of x squared is equal to x, right? This being not a surd. You all know this, right? Then for multiplying surds, the square root of y times the square root of z is equal to the square root of y times z. This is the rule for surds. For example, e.g. the square root of 2 times the square root of 3 is equal to the square root of 2 times 3, which is equal to the square root of 6. Right? This is very simple. Now let us work out an example of simplifying surds. If we say simplify root of 45, what is the square root of 45? The factors of 45 that we should first look for the factors of 45 that includes one number being a square of another number. So we can try 9 times 5. Since we said the square root of numbers of two numbers is equal to that number squared like this, so this is equal to the square root of 9 times 5 is equal to the square root of 9 times the square root of 5 according to this rule, which is equal to 9 is the square of 3. 9 is equal to 3 times 3, so this is equal to the square root of 3 squared times the square root of 5, which is equal to the square root of 3 squared according to this rule is equal to 3 times the square root of 5, which is equal to 3 root 5. Then equal to the square root of 3 squared. According to this rule, the square root of a square number is the number. This is equal to 3 times the square root of 5, which is equal to 3 root 5. So we have simplified the root of 45. Now let us work out another example. Express 7 root 3 as the square root of a single number. What do we do? First, 7 root 3 is equal to, we said 7 should be equal to the square root of 7 squared, right? Times the square root of 3 like this. This is equal to the square root of 49 times the square root of 3, which is equal to the square root of 49 times 3, which is equal to the root of 147. So this is how we express a number that is like this as the square root of a single number. Our last example on multiplication, simplify the square root of 12 times 3 square root of 60 times square root of 45. This is equal to, first we write the square roots as products of their factors. The square root of 12 is equal to square root of 4 times 3 times 3 root square root of 4 times 15. Since 4 is the factor of 12, that is a square of another number, and 4 is also a factor of 60, that is a square of another number, and for 45 its factor that is a square of another number is 9, and it's 9 times 5 like this. To simplify it further, square root of 4 is equal to 2, and we said we write 2 outside like this, since a square root of a number that is a square of another number is that number, so it will be 2 root 3 times 3 times 2 root 15. Here we've just put 4 outside and written the square of 4 times, here is 3 is the square, is 9 is the square of 3 root 5 like this. This is equal to 2 times 3 times 2 times 3 is equal to 36, so it becomes 36 square root of 3 times 15 times 5 like this. This becomes 36 square root of 3 times 5 is equal to 15, right? 15 times 15 and the square root of a square of two numbers that are identical is equal to 36 square root of 15 squared, which is equal to 36 times 15, which is equal to 540. Let us proceed to division of surds. Given two numbers m and n, the root of m divided by the square root of n is equal to the square root of m over n. So for example, the square root of 2 over the square root of 3 is equal to the square root of 2 over 3. So for surds, we should leave the denominator rationalized at all times. So given the square root of 2 over 3, how do we rationalize the denominator? The square root of 2 over the square root of 3. We multiply the top and the bottom by the square root of 3. This becomes the square root of 2 times the square root of 3 according to our rules on multiplication. The square root of 2 times 3 over root of 3 times root of 3. We said the square root of identical numbers, the product of square root of identical numbers is the number. It becomes like this. 2 times 2 times 3 is 6, so it becomes root of 6 over 3. We have rationalized the surds. Another example, simplify square root of 18 over the square root of 2. This is equal to the square root of 9 times 2. Since 9 is a factor of 18 and it is also a square of a number over a square root of 2, like this. This becomes how much? It becomes the square root of 9 times the square root of 2 over the square root of 2. Then these are identical, so they cancel each other, which becomes the square root of 9 is 3, right? Since 9 is the square of 3, so our solution is 3. Now it is time for our exercise. May you please complete the exercise that is on the screen and pause the video, then I will give you the solution thereafter and mark your work. We'll start with number 1, solution, simplifying the surds. Number 1, the question is 7 root 17 plus 9 root 17. And since the numbers in the square roots are the same, we can add them. So our solution will be 16 square root of 17. This is our solution. Then for number 2, our question was 5 square root of 13 plus 13 square root of 5. And yes, since the numbers in the square roots are different, we cannot simplify it any further. It simply becomes 5 root 13 plus 13 root 5. This is your solution. And for number 3, the question was 6 root 7 minus 2 root 7. And since the numbers in the square roots are the same, we just subtract 6 minus 2 is equal to 4 root 7. And for number 4, the question was 21 root 11 minus 17 root 14 and 41. So, and since root 11 and root 41 are different, we just write it as 21 root 11 minus 17 root 41, like this. This is the correct answer. Then for number 5, the question was square root of 8 times square root of 6 times square root of 10 times the square root of 12. This is equal to we write the numbers under 1, this 1 square root sign. It becomes 8 times 6 times 10 times 12. This is equal to make it easy for us, I want us to write the numbers as products of their factors, of their prime factors. 8 is 2 times 2 times 2 times 6 is 2 times 3, 10 is 2 times 5, and 12 is 2 times 2 times 3. So now we collect like terms. We collect like terms in twos. 2 times 2, these twos, times these twos. 2 times 2 times these threes. 3 times 3 times these twos. 2 times 2 times 5 times 2, like this. This is equal to, so we can remove the square root from these identical numbers, because the square root of 2 times 2 is 2, so it becomes 2 times, we've removed this from this. The square root of 2 times 2 is also 2 times 2 times the square root of 3 times 3 is equal to 3 times this again. The square root of 2 times 2 is 2 times the square root of 5 times 2. This becomes 2 times 2. What is 2 times 2? 4. 4 times 3, 12. 12 times 2, it becomes 24 root 10. 24 root 10. For number 6, the question was 30 divided by root 75. First, we have to write root 75 as a product of its prime factors. It is 3 times 5 times 5, which is equal to 30 divided by these 5's. If we put it outside, it becomes 5 root 3. Then to further simplify it, we have to rationalize it. After dividing this, 5 into 5 is 1, 5 into this is 6. This becomes 6 over root 3. Then to further simplify, we multiply top and bottom by root 3. This becomes 6 root 3 divided by 3. Since the root 3's are identical, then this becomes 1 and this becomes 2. This is equal to 2 root 3. It is simple, right? I know you got them correct, all of them. If you have forgotten how to find factors and prime factors of numbers, please watch our video how to find factors and prime factors of numbers on YouTube before attempting this video.
Thank you for watching my video. It is the first of 2 videos on Surds. The second one will be compiling the 4, adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing.